It looks like the internet has agreed that the Switch 2 has been leaked. And I might be a little late to the party, but it's not going to stop me from giving you guys my thoughts, my opinions, and my hopes for the system. And I have some pretty high hopes, so let me know if you think they're justified or not. I'm thinking this might be one of the last Switch 2 leak videos you need to watch because more than likely, Nintendo is going to reveal the Switch 2. At this point, we are probably looking at a week or two before they're fully announced just because of how damning these leaks are to showing what the Switch 2 actually looks like. And I think at this point, Nintendo is just losing people's kind of like interest on the system. I don't think that's not the right word. They're not losing interest, but they're definitely not doing themselves any favors by not revealing the system and having these leaks out. So I'm sorry to burst a lot of your guys' bubbles, but the Switch 2 doesn't look like it's going to be a spiritual successor to the 3DS. We're not going to have two screens. It's not going to flip open or any of that crazy stuff. As you guys know from the leaks, we received pictures of what seems to be the Joy-Cons, the shell of the system, and some of the specs of the system. In this video, I really want to focus on the actual system itself and what we are going to most likely be receiving and my thoughts on that. The reason I want to talk about it is because I made a video about the Switch 2 last year and some of the leaks that came out then. And some of the stuff that I reviewed last year kind of came true, so that video may still be relevant right now. If you want to click on that, I will have it linked somewhere up above. So yeah, let's just get into it. Let's go ahead and check out the system and what we got. So it looks like right here that we got the left Joy-Con, and honestly, I think what the big takeaway that most people have is that it looks very similar to the Switch Joy-Cons that we have now. The biggest difference is going to be the railings here on the end. It doesn't look like it comes down anymore. It looks more like it clicks inwards to the system. It's kind of held by some type of like magnets maybe, which is going to be, maybe these are like the magnets that suction it in. So when it gets connected, there's probably a hinge here that grabs into this part. And you'll see in the back of the Joy-Con here that there is the little button here that probably releases that hinge, which is cool. This is a really cool design, and I think it's probably going to be a better design than what we have right now, but it does confirm one of the fears that I had in my first video that I posted, and that is that we will not be able to use our current Joy-Cons on the new system. Pretty much confirmed here. It doesn't look like the old Joy-Cons are going to be able to connect at all. And I know a lot of you guys are probably going to tell me that that was a long shot, that it was definitely more than likely that we weren't going to be able to use our original Joy-Cons, but I was really hoping, and I was hoping we would get kind of like a Wii U situation where the old hardware works in par with the new hardware. So with the Wii U, we had the like tablet controller, but you were still able to use your nunchucks, right? So I was hoping that, you know, maybe we would get some type of new gadgets that we could use for the Switch 2, but the Joy-Cons will still be able to work. So there is still hope that they will work wirelessly because they look like they do the exact same thing, but you just can't use them like on the system, which I think is a good middle ground. And let's just hope that Nintendo allows that to happen. I don't see that not being able to happen, but it's Nintendo, and sometimes they do really weird stuff like that, so we'll see. Anyway, so back to the images here. So if you look, it looks like we got the exact same button layout that we did in the original Joy-Cons here for both the Joy-Cons. So minus and the plus here. We have like the up, down, left, right, A, B, X, Y, all that stuff here. So it looks like all that, like even up to the capture button and the home button, and all that looks like it's staying the same. So I don't think they could have done it any differently, unless they changed the whole design of the Joy-Cons, which I don't think that they were going for. I think that they are playing it very safe here. So they kept it very, very similar. One thing that I did notice is it looks like there's an AR sensor on both the sides of the Joy-Cons, which this may not be the case, but that's what it looks like right now. There's two AR sensors. So okay, now let me go over some of my hopes for the the Joy-Cons and the Switch 2. And my number one biggest hope for these Joy-Cons is that they don't have stick drift. That's like the number one thing. It is the number one thing that Nintendo should have fixed. Before all this other stuff that we've looked at and the other stuff that we're going to talk about and what we hope for the system, the drift has to be the number one thing they freaking fixed, dude. Joy-Con drift was such a huge problem for me as somebody who has so many Switches, has so many kids in the house. It was a huge problem. And if you're like me also, and you get like special edition Switches and you had special edition Joy-Con. So for example, I bought my wife the Animal Crossing Switch, and my son, I bought him the Super Mario Odyssey all red Switch. I had to fix those drifting issues myself because I was too afraid that if I sent them into Nintendo, I wouldn't receive the shell that I have at purchase, that they might send me a new Joy-Con entirely. That was a risk I was never willing to take. So that was something that I went on the internet and had to figure out how to do myself, because yeah, those are Joy-Cons that I wanted. I wanted to keep those. So I had to go out of my way to fix those. Like if my Joy-Cons on my Switch 2 start drifting and I can't use my original Joy-Cons that somehow still work, I'm gonna be pissed. That's just like, I'm gonna be mad. My second hope is that the buttons are just a little bit more clicky, kind of like the Switch Lite. And I don't know if it's just me, but these buttons in the back, like on the Joy-Cons, they look like these right here, like the LR, ZR, whatever those are called. They look like they are more clicky. They look like they're not like sunken into the Joy-Con, which they were probably able to make them more like real buttons because there is no rail and because they could just slide them onto the ends there. I think that would be great. I hate playing with the Joy-Cons and playing a game that I have to use these buttons back there because they are so hard to push and they are so uncomfortable. And I'm really hoping that this alleviates that problem. They look like they're a lot better. At least they look like they're actual buttons, closer to what like the top of the Joy-Con feels like. All right, now onto the system itself. Guess what? It looks just like a Switch. It looks like a Switch OLED. I'm pretty sure you've heard this 100 times now. It looks just like a Switch OLED and doesn't look like there's that many changes. But I did notice some stuff, and we'll go over that right now. And look at my face. This is like all on my face. The first thing I noticed that the speakers are on the bottom of the system, which I think that makes sense, right? Because the top is used for ventilation fans, has your little card reader there for your games. The buttons are giving me iPhone vibes, which is real dope. I'm cool with that. Those buttons look awesome. The power button, the volume buttons, those look very nice, very clickable, much better than what we got on the Switch Lite and the regular Switch. I can't remember for the life of me if that's what the buttons that the OLED has, but these look great. I like that. Big dubs. Something I noticed with the body of the Switch that a lot of people are not pointing out is that it looks like there's two USB-C ports, one in the bottom and one on the top. So you can see here the bottom of the system, it's right there. There's the speakers and then one up here. So I think that they went with the two USB-Cs because the one on the bottom is going to be used for the dock and the one on top would be used when you are playing handheld and charging it. And honestly, that is really dope. I really like that idea. It's like a quality of life feature that I didn't even know I wanted. But now that I'm thinking about it, yes, do that. That sounds great. Whenever I charge my Switch Lite, or my regular Switch, and I'm traveling and I gotta put it in the bottom, it is just uncomfortable as all heck. So yes, 100%, this is a great idea. I'm really curious to see what happens if you were to plug in a USB on both sides. I wonder if your system would just blow up or if it charges doubly fast. Whatever it does, I don't care. As long as it works as intended, where the top one charges when you're on handheld and the bottom one charges and plays while docked. This is a really great idea, and I hope that it is true. I hope this part is true. And speaking of the iPhone buttons here, something that the iPhone doesn't have is an aux port. Rare Nintendo W, thank you so much for keeping the aux port. I think a lot of people will be sleeping on that, and I still have, all my mics still have auxes, so thank you so much for keeping that. Kickstand looks exactly the same as it does on the Switch OLED, which is really cool. I think that backstand is the superior backstand, obviously. It works very well, and it looks like we will most likely have our SD card slot behind the backstand again, which I'm not the biggest fan of. I guess it's not horrible, but still, it's there. Nice backstand. I like it. You know how 5 seconds ago I talked about how I wish these buttons were more up, and I thought that's what this was? Well, this picture looks like they look like they're similar to the original Switch, which really sucks, but you can see here that this is probably what gets connected into the Switch. I don't know what that's interesting. I wonder what this is going to get connected into. That is very interesting, but dang, I am super disappointed with these buttons. I can't believe I'm already feeling disappointed. So overall, honestly, the system looks very similar to what we have. I think Nintendo played it very safe, which I don't think is a bad thing, but I think they're just still in shock from the whole Wii U era thing, where they don't want to make it too complicated. They don't want to make it too different in order to, they want to capitalize on the success of the original Switch, and that's what they're doing. They look like they're just making a Switch 2, and it looks just like your Switch. Maybe it's just gonna be more powerful. The buttons it's gonna be a little bit, buttons are gonna be better. It's gonna be a little bit higher quality, and it's gonna be, nobody's gonna be surprised by this. And also, can we make the system not glossy? I mean, this is a 3D printed picture here, but I hope that it doesn't come out looking glossy like some of Nintendo's systems, like the 3DS, the new 3DS XL. They made glossy, but they made the new 3DS like regular model not like matte finished. I hope that they come out like a matte finish system. I like the matte finish a little bit more than the gloss. Another hope for me is that the system is comfortable. Honestly, I have a huge problem with playing my Switch nowadays. It just starts hurting my hands so much. I've been very spoiled by my Steam Deck. So when I play my Steam Deck for a few hours, it doesn't really bother me much. But when I went from my Steam Deck back to my Switch, the whole holding it, the aerodynamics of the Switch just does not feel good for my hands, and it starts hurting my hands after just a few hours. And don't even get me started with my Switch Lite. I can't play my Switch Lite for more than an hour without getting cramps in my hand, which is really weird because I have my 3DSs and I could pretty much play all my 3DSs for multiple hours and not really feel cramps in my hand. But for some reason, like, the Switch design just really hurts, and I don't know why. It just really bothers my hands, and I don't know why. And that was kind of something that I was hoping that they would be able to fix with the Switch 2, but I guess in reality, unless they did like a full redesign and made it basically look like a Steam Deck, they weren't going to change that. And I don't think that it was something that was even in their minds to change the way that the Switch 2 was designed, because again, they wanted it to look like the Switch 1. They wanted to look very similar, maybe just higher quality, but they wanted it to be so people could just look at it and know like, hey, that's like my Switch, but way newer, right? That's kind of what they were going for, it looks like. Yeah, so guys, I'm really sorry. No 3DS, no new Switch 3DS, no double screen Switch, nothing like that. It looks like we are just getting a basic old Switch 2, which it's going to disappoint some people, but most people won't be disappointed about it. Me, I'm going to hold off my judgment until we actually see the device, until we actually see the new stuff that we're getting. But if it is just an upgraded Switch, I don't mind too much. It's not going to be like my favorite console ever, but I won't hate on that. I really do. I do like my Switch. I do like portable consoles. Soon I'm going to be making a video about my Portal, which I love. I love right now. My Portal is one of my favorite things that I have. So like seriously, between my Switch, my Steam Deck, and my Portal, I have been playing my Portal the most, and and it's because I love handheld gaming. You know, I'm a dad, I work a lot, and I am a very busy person in general. So if a system comes out that's handheld and lets me play my games and I don't have to be like stuck in a room playing them, that's just like a big plus for me. So I am hoping for the best. I'm hoping for the Switch 2 to be amazing, because that is in my best interest. I'm not preying on the downfall of this system. I want it to be great. Nintendo, balls on your court. Please reveal the dang system already. We want to see it. These leaks are getting crazy, and at this point, you're already late. You're already late. Just reveal the damn system. Anyways, those are my thoughts right now so far. I'll review more if more comes out. But if you've made it to this point, I want to thank you so much. Seriously, thank you so much. This video is just more me just talking to the camera, no script or anything. And it's going to be like minimally edited, mostly just talking about the Switch 2. And it's because it's hard, man. Editing and making those videos is really tough. So if I want to come out with more videos more consistently, it's going to be some videos like this where it's just me yapping to the camera. I appreciate you sticking it out this long. You're the real ones. You're what help this channel grow. We are at about 500 something subscribers right now, like 530 subs. And I would really appreciate it if you would consider subscribing, because we need to get to 1,000 if we want to be monetized, and I want to keep making videos. So I really need help with that. Other than that, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Peace.